Every summer, without fail, two kinds of articles regularly show up in newspapers, magazines, and blogs that are focused on the lifestyles of the rich and famous and their accompanying aspirants. One will invariably discuss what's supposedly going to be hot in the Hamptons that particular year, given that restaurants, nightclubs, shops, events, and even whole towns go in and out of favor like the tides in Peconic Bay. Advertisement. Continue reading below. The other will bemoan what the Hamptons aren't anymore, a golden-hued magnet for artists, writers, and other assorted folk looking to do an about-face from their sophisticated city lives. It will wax nostalgic about the days of buying tomatoes and fruit pies at farm stands and drinking wine out of paper cups in the middle of someone's yard or gorging on lobsters on a blanket at the beach at sunset. I should know, as I am frequently asked to write one or the other, or both.C.Z.Guest in 1953 Bert Morgan Southampton Historical Museum. The reality is that much of what once made the Hamptons so alluring is still there, the evocative mix of farm fields and endless sandy beaches, the charming cottages and shingled manors, the leafy lanes and the extraordinary light, one that defies description, but surely results from the geography of being on a low-lying, narrow peninsula nestled between peaceful, mirror-like bays and ponds and the muscular Atlantic Ocean. Advertisement. Continue reading below. Clearly, there's something special about it, otherwise paintings by William Merritt Chase, Willem de Kooning, and Jackson Pollack wouldn't exist. Neither would works of words by Truman Capote, Kurt Vonnegut, and George Plimpton. The book, Hamptons Bohemia, 2 centuries of artists and writers on the beach, could not be more accurate in its premise. The Murray sisters. Bert Morgan Southampton Historical Museum, but it wasn't all t-shirts with packs of Marlboros rolled up in the sleeves and paint-spattered chinos. From the get-go, there was a parallel world of decorum bordering on formality, as seen in Chase's paintings of women walking across the dunes in long white dresses and men sporting straw boaters and boaties. Advertisement. Continue reading below. Advertisement. Continue reading below. This studied manner of dress evolved into the sportive Chanel-esque style of the 20s and 30s, which, in turn, revved into the va-va-voom aesthetic of the 40s and 50s long before vaguely Moroccan-inspired tunics, skinny white jeans, and jeweled sandals became de rigueur. The Thomas Phipps Family Bert Morgan Archive. There are some sad truths. Bumper-to-bumper Bentleys and Maseratis have replaced the old Wagoneers and rusty pickups of times gone by, and the necessities of hedge funders, things like high-priced spin studios and Nikki Beach pop-ups, are edging out the local shops, farm stands, and clam bars. But one institution remains stalwart, the clubs.Intensely. Private behind their walls of privet, genteel and yes, primarily gentile, the club system continues to thrive in the Hamptons, in spite of the headwinds of social change or supposed dearth of clubbable types. Advertisement. Continue reading below. Jack Chrysler, Jr.in 1960 Bert Morgan Southampton Historical Museum. There are most certainly cracks in the firmament, such as the annual leaking of names of hopeful applicants and their ultimate fate to outlets like Page 6, but other than that, time seems frozen in formidable places like the Bathing Corporation of Southampton, the breathtakingly beautiful Meadow Club or East Hampton's Maidstone Club, immortalized in the HBO version of Grey Gardens, a dramatized take on the Maysles brothers' 1975 documentary about the iconic East Hampton home. As is the case with most exclusive and exclusionary private clubs, photography of the club interiors and, more importantly, its members, is strictly verbatim. Someone has to pay for the Maidstone Club and all those goddamn crab sandwiches, bellows Phelan Beale to his eccentric wife, Edie. But much of what really happens within the clubs is strictly hearsay. As is the case with most exclusive and exclusionary private clubs, photography of the club interiors and, more importantly, its members is strictly verbatim. But it wasn't always that way. Mr.Oliver Rogers Bert Morgan Archive Advertisement. Continue reading below advertisement. Continue reading below. From the late 1940s up until the early 1960s, as cafe society evolved into the jet set, photographer Bert Morgan was permitted, if not welcomed, to take pictures of the daily comings and goings at the main entrance to the bathing corporation, known colloquially to its members as the Beach Club. Primarily on summer Saturdays, casually dressed for the beach, or in prim dresses, hats, heels, and gloves, a parade of socialites, celebrities, and summer colony families would willingly stop and pose for Bert, without any pushback or resistance from the club. In much the same way as the legendary photographer Bill Cunningham would station himself at the corner of New York's 57th Street and 5th Avenue, Morgan's presence became positively ritualistic to the smart set. Many even upped their usual sartorial ante, knowing that their images could very well end up on the pages of Vogue, The Social Spectator, and, of course, Town and Country. The Duke of Windsor, an architect T. Marco Robinson in front of the Southampton Bathing Corporation. Bert Morgan Southampton Historical Museum Advertisement. Continue reading below. Morgan, who was born in England but came to live in the U.S. with his parents as a child, prided himself on knowing almost all of his subjects by name, and he followed them beyond Southampton to Newport, Palm Beach, Jamaica, and Bermuda, along with the Manhattan hotspots of the day, such as the Stork Club in El Morocco. Most notably, he was named the official track photographer of the New York Racing Association, so aligned was he with the Saratoga crowd. Mr. Merrill McGowan. With his mother, Doris Merrill McGowan. Bert Morgan archive. At the time of his death, he left an archive of over 1.5 million negatives. Much of it now belongs to Getty Images, but approximately 300 are the exclusive property of the Southampton Historical Museum, an extremely dedicated non-profit organization that was incorporated in 1910. In addition to their mission of promoting the history and culture of Southampton to diverse audiences, they also maintain 4 historic properties and a sizable research library.